Hey guys, welcome back. I am fucking exhausted and look at my fucking face. I'm so red. I'm really beat today, but I wanted to put on some makeup, so I figured I'd sit down and film it. I haven't filmed any kind of makeup looks for a minute, so here we are. I went to Cedar Point last night for the first time this season. It was 90 degrees. You have to wear a mask, so again, it really beat me down. I put on sunscreen twice yesterday, and I still got so much sun. You're sweating so much that the sunscreen just won't even stay on your skin. So that's why I am so red. I've done my regular morning skincare routine, which if you watched my last video, then you know all about that. The one thing that I did add to my routine, where is it? I picked up, due to your guys' recommendations, this is the Paula's Choice Youth Extending Daily Hydrating Fluid Broad Spectrum SPF 50 with antioxidants and soothing plant extracts. But again, I put this on twice yesterday and it's still, my skin was so sweaty that it just wasn't sticking. I got a lot of sun definitely on my forehead, so it is what it is. But I used this again this morning just as a base. But that one seems to be doing okay as far as a moisturizer for my skin for under makeup. It doesn't really seem to be creating any kind of weirdness, thickness, texture, separation of product or anything like that. And I'm still using the Bye Bye Under Eye Illumination as a foundation. So most days lately, I've actually been doing my makeup in the bathroom. For some reason, when I'm doing my makeup in bathroom lighting, especially with my foundation, I feel like I just like the way that the overall look is. I feel like under these lights, I tend to go a little bit more heavy-handed with the product, and it ends up being just a little bit thicker than what I prefer on my skin. But lighting definitely makes things look different. I think I get a much more natural finish in just my regular bathroom lighting. I feel like I definitely go in a little more heavy-handed when I'm sitting here in front of these lights than I do in the bathroom. But that's fine. It is what it is. And I feel like today I'm gonna need a little bit more coverage anyway, since I do have so much redness on my skin. But I'm still really liking this concealer as a foundation, and I did end up picking up this brush. This is the 146 Conceal Perfector by Zoeva, which I have talked about a few times on my channel. I walked into an Ulta and I didn't realize that they sold Zoeva in store at Ulta. And when I passed by the display, I was like, oh, I wonder if they have that brush, and they had one left, so I picked it up. And I have been really liking this a lot. I feel like it's the perfect size, it's the perfect density, it's a perfect softness for how I like to apply my makeup. So this one has been doing me really well, and I've been using this brush every day with this concealer. I've been using it not just under the eyes, but all over my face to apply product. So I've been really liking this one. I'm definitely gonna need a lot of extra coverage on my forehead today because again, I'm just so red. It was so hot up there yesterday. Even the drive there was really hot yesterday. I headed out around maybe like 2 in the afternoon, and for some reason the sun decided it was gonna be out all day, which is a rarity in Northeast Ohio. But even having the air conditioning cranked in my car, I was still just like sweating the whole time. And so when I got there, as soon as I got out of my car, it was just like sweat pouring out of your skin. So it definitely wasn't gonna keep any sunscreen on the skin at all. But I had a lot of fun, and I mean, I wasn't even planning on going to Cedar Point at all this summer. Not because I'm afraid of like going out in public and, you know, COVID and all that. I mean, you know, I'm around people day in and day out at work, and, you know, I'm hands-on with people, so that didn't really bother me at all. It was more about like just with the protocol and with the way that everything has to be handled, and the way that they have to open things. I just assumed it wasn't going to be any fun to go this year, so I didn't plan on renewing my season pass or anything like that. I had some friends that were in town from California, and they were there all week, and I was meeting them just for dinner on Thursday just to see them while they were in town. Again, not planning to go to the park at all. And, you know, they were like, no, it's not really that bad. But they had gotten to ride all kinds of stuff, and they said that it wasn't, you know, nearly the hassle that I assumed that it would be to even go. So I did get talked into renewing my season pass for this year and made a reservation to go for Saturday just for a few hours. So I was only in the park for 4 hours last night. And again, just after 2 hours, I was completely beat. You know, it was 90 degrees. You're wearing a mask. You're sweating. It was really easy to just get completely run down really quick. But it was still a lot of fun. I'm really glad that I got to see my friends while they were in town. Hello, all you guys, if you're watching. But I'm glad that I went, and I'll probably go a few more times this season anyway. If they don't get shut down, I feel like things are starting to get shut down again all over the world. Not yet in Ohio. I feel like if anything, they're just kind of mandating that you have to wear a mask in public, even if you're outside, which honestly, I feel like is keeping people from going places and doing stuff. So if there's just less people out and about, then I'm gonna be more likely to go out and do stuff if I don't have to deal with all of those people everywhere, you know. So whatever, it's fine. I'll wear a mask. And honestly, I thought the mask was kind of a hassle at first, but now that I have been working in a mask all day, every day for the past like over 2 months now, I'm just kind of used to it. It doesn't really bother me that much anymore. I think if anything, as far as makeup goes, I have been wearing makeup here and there to work. And if you follow me on Instagram, my account tends to be really makeup heavy, but over the last couple of months, it really hasn't been. But again, I haven't really been wearing as much as often because what I find is, and definitely in my line of work, I do hair. So, you know, you're hands-on with people all day, every day. There's a lot of talking, you know what I mean? So I feel like having that mask on and having your hot breath just kind of like seeping up underneath and going directly into your eyes. Even if you have your base makeup and your foundation kind of under control, it almost seems like eye makeup wants to get a little crazy really quick because it's just constant steam going up into your eyes. So mascara definitely gets a little smeary, and I have really oily skin and I have issues keeping mascara from getting all crazy throughout the day anyway. So once you add all of that heat and humidity from your breath, that kind of makes things look even worse, even faster. I have been taking a touch-up kit with me, which is basically a couple of different powders, a few different brushes, just something to maybe fix things later on in the day. But as far as my base makeup goes, I'm still really loving this concealer. I just feel like it looks really natural on the skin. You can build it up to be like full coverage if you really wanted to, but honestly, you know, wearing a mask, taking it off at some point during the day, like I said in the video where I talked about this, there doesn't really seem to be that much of a textural difference between the finish of this concealer and natural skin. So even if it does get rubbed off a little bit, you just can't really tell. It doesn't really look that much different. So, and I haven't been covering my entire face in it either. Basically just where the redness and the splotchiness is the worst. I haven't actually been using it on my cheek area at all, or even up into this area here, because I'm going to be going in with a little bit of contouring and I'm going to have a little bit of product on those areas anyway. And so if I keep this really exactly where I need it to cover like the most red areas, you know, anything I use as far as like contouring, highlighting, blush, any of that stuff is going to go ahead and take care of, you know, any of these areas. And then I'm not just layering product over product over product, you know what I mean? And then if it's not the fullest coverage, that's fine, because then my skin just still looks like skin, which is really what I'm going for. But yeah, that's how I've been really liking things to look lately. Even you can still see some of the splotchiness in my skin right here. You can still see a little bit of like variation in tone in my skin. But again, my skin looks like skin. And then I'm gonna start setting things into place with some powder. So I'm gonna go in with the Next to Nothing powder by MAC. This is in the shade Light Plus. I'm taking that on a fluffy brush, and I really just kind of hit the perimeter of my face, just the areas where I didn't put any of that concealer, and this is gonna kind of act as a base for my contour. Even though products change from time to time and techniques vary a little bit here and there, overall, I kind of do the same thing every day with my makeup, so I think we all do that. As far as the powder that I set down the center of my face with, you guys have heard me talk about my Franken powder quite a few times, and I did actually just change the formula, and I'm actually really happy with the way that it turned out. So normally I would do the Ben Nye Pretty Pink setting powder, and I would do that half and half with the Fit Me, the Maybelline Fit Me loose powder, and I think it's in the, is it in the lightest shade? It's in the fair shade, but I've been using that combination for a long time, and I just bought one of these little sifter jars on Amazon, and I just mix it in one of these. Again, a 50-50 mix usually, but I ended up getting these two powders from e.l.f. These are the Halo Glow setting powders, and they have like a luminosity to them. I picked one up in the shade Light, and then I picked up the light pink one. And so what I did this time is I mixed up my regular cocktail that I always do for my Franken powder, and then I mixed in these two with it as well, just to add a little bit of luminosity to it, and it ended up working out really good. The e.l.f. powders are really finely milled, and so it actually makes my setting powder a little less powdery, or at least a little less powdery looking on the skin. So I still go in with a dry beauty blender, and then just kind of set where I always do, right under the eyes, the nose, the center of the forehead, the chin. And honestly, lately, as far as like baking goes, I haven't really been doing that a lot. Only because, again, I've said this several times, I just want there to be less product overall on my skin. And I've said this before too, even if I do use a lot of powder, and even if I do bake really heavily, my skin is so oily that within the hour, you can't really tell that I use powder anyway. So my under eyes don't ever get like dry or like crepey looking or anything like that from powder. But again, I still do just overall want less product on my skin, because the less product you have on your skin, the younger you look. And then I'm gonna go in and do all of my contouring, blush, eyebrows, nose contour, all of that boring stuff. That is the exact same routine every time I do my makeup. If you've been here before, you've already seen it. So I'm gonna go ahead and do all that stuff off camera, and then I'll come back and we'll get into the fun part of the makeup, which is the eyes. Okay, so contour check, eyebrows check. I use the Urban Decay eyeshadow primer in the shade Eden. I had recently picked up the anti-aging one, and I fucking hated it. It actually felt very similar to the Milani eyeshadow primer, which I fucking hated. And this one has always worked really well for me, and I'm like, why didn't I just buy that one? Because apparently I was concerned with the anti-aging around my eyes. I thought that would work. It didn't. I did set quite a bit of powder down under my eyes, which again, I haven't really been doing that much lately. But since I'm gonna be going in and playing with a bunch of eyeshadow, I figured I'd rather be safe than sorry. So I wanted to dip back into the Clarity Cosmetics Glam and Go palette. When I used this the first time, I did film a video on it. I think I only used 2 shades, and I really wanted to go back in and play with it some more, try some other shades out in this palette. So that's what I'm going to do today. And I think I want to use some of these more gold tones. I definitely want to use this yellow shade down here called Spicy. This is like a mustard yellow. I'm gonna take that on a fluffy brush, and I'm going to start to stamp that into my transition area. I don't know when the last time I did like a vibrant yellow kind of eye look was. I don't know if I've ever done anything like that on my channel, to be honest. So I definitely like a good yellow mustard tone eyeshadow. I just like really grungy, kind of like ugly eye looks. That one goes on really quick and it looks really cool right away. So already I'm a fan. And in that other video that I did where I used this palette, I used those shades on top of that e.l.f. putty eye primer, which I really wanted to like because it was a black base and it just didn't work out at all. Everything broke up on top of it. Now, using it on top of a traditional eyeshadow primer, it did seem to hold up a little bit better, but I think that it sucks that you have to use an eyeshadow primer on top of another eyeshadow primer just to get it to work. I think it should work on its own. And it really was kind of similar to those MAC paint pots, which in theory, I think they're a really great idea, but I get the same results from those. It's like, you know, they create a nice base for eyeshadow, but halfway during the day, they just break up and they look really gross on the eyes. So speaking of really gross on the eyes, I'm fucking loving this color right now. I mean, it's definitely a great mustard tone. It's really pigmented. It builds up pretty intensely. So let's see how that blends out along the edges there. And I'm really glad that I went back to a primer that I know that I love. I mean, you know how it is. Every great once in a while, you need to change things up. You want to try something different. And you get it, you try it, and it's like, why did I waste my money on this shit when at the end of the day, I was going to go right back to that thing that I know that I like anyway, you know? And I'm going to take that shade underneath the eyes as well on that same brush. This is a Morphe R39. I really like this one a lot. For most people, it probably would be too big of a brush for the under eye area, but since I like to really raccoon out my eyeshadow, I really like the size of this brush for all the way around the eyes. Normally, I would be this tired after a day at Cedar Point, but that would be after an entire day there. I was only there for 4 hours last night, but again, everything is so different now. The world is so different now. And it's been a while since I've been there, you know? I mean, normally I would have started going the first weekend in May, and then by the time that it starts to get really hot here in Northeast Ohio in July, you're already kind of used to running around an amusement park in the sun anyway. So, you know, you add a little bit of heat to it at that point, it's usually not that bad. But since this was the first time that I went this year, and it was hot, and you had to wear a mask. But again, I had a really good time, and I think I do want to go a few more times before they start shutting shit down again. Does anybody get the idea that they really are going to start closing things down again? I mean, I feel like, Australia closed down again, California closed down again. They haven't opened any of the amusement parks out in California, so who knows what's going to go on in Ohio. I do want to go in with a brown to kind of deepen things up a little bit. But honestly, the browns in this palette, I don't really know that I like either one of those with this yellow. I want to keep things a little bit more warm toned than what's going on in there as far as the deeper colors go. So I think I'm going to dip into, this is the Warrior 2 by JUVIA'S Place. I want to go into this first brown shade in the corner here. It's called Yodit, I think is how you pronounce it. I'm going to take that on the same brush. This just is a little bit more of a warmer brown, and I think that that's going to look really nice with this mustard color. So I'm just going to go ahead and deepen up my socket with that color and probably swing that around the under eye as well. Yeah, this brown works really nice with that mustard tone. So I'm going to take that same brown shade on a pencil brush. This is a Morphe E36, 35, 36, something like that. It's just a standard pencil brush, and just taking that shade along the lower lash line. I think that this is very similar in tone to the Whiskey pencil from Urban Decay. It's that nice kind of warm brown, like a honey brown kind of tone. And so I think that I'm gonna end up using that Whiskey liner with this look because I think it'll fit in really well. Now, I suppose that I never need to pick up that Urban Decay Honey palette, because this looks to be about the same kind of color story on my eyes right now. So, and really the formula of these eyeshadows is probably better than any of the Urban Decay shadows. But these 24/7 waterline pencils and their eyeshadow primer, a couple of them anyway, are a really good formula. So I'm gonna go ahead and give them that. So then for the lid, I'm gonna go into the shade here, 1988, which was a really good year. And I'm gonna take that on my finger and I'm gonna pop that right onto the lid. Oh, fuck yeah, that looks awesome. And this one is just a really nice yellowy gold. That one is pretty as fuck. I really like that shade. Goes on really, really easily. It's really pigmented, really quick finger application, and you're good to go. Although you guys know that I'm gonna need to go on that inner corner there with a brush because my eyes are just really deep set and it's hard to get in there with a finger and not create a complete and total fucking mess. So I'm gonna take, this is a Morphe M421, which is a really good size brush for something like this area here. So then I think I'm gonna do a glitter inner corner. I haven't done that for a minute. I got this new one from Lit Cosmetics. This one is called Mexican Lucky. It's a size 3. And this one is just very similar in tone. And I think this is like an older glitter that they kind of brought back out from the vault. They do that from time to time. And I just kind of like to snag some of that while they have it. Like I ended up picking up a few more of the Fully Nude glitter, which is my favorite glitter from Lit. It's the first one I fell in love with from that brand. And when I saw that they were coming back out with it for a limited time, I snagged it up really quick. I'm gonna take some NYX glitter primer on this little tiny brush here, and I'm just going to hit that inner corner with some of that glitter glue. Now, I've used this glitter on my nails, but I don't think I've actually used it on my eyes yet. I put this over top of a similar colored gel polish. It was like a shimmery, coppery brown kind of gel polish. And then I just kind of pressed this over top of it and it looked fucking awesome. It was such a good nail combo. Now I've thought about, and let me know what you guys think about this idea. I don't typically do any kind of like really crazy nail art or any of that. I'm pretty basic when it comes to what I like to put on my nails. But would any of you guys be interested in me filming a nail video where I show you guys how I do my gel manicures and that kind of stuff? Especially with, you know, layering things like glitter and stuff like that over top of gel, because it can be just a little bit tricky there. And just because I'm trying to keep things a little bit fresh on my channel, have, you know, a little bit of different content here and there. Yeah, so let me sweep away this fallout. I think as far as the eye look goes here today, we are pretty much finished. I am obviously going to get some mascara on here really quick. I'm thinking about a highlighter, but I'm not exactly sure yet. I haven't really been doing a lot of highlighter lately. My skin is pretty much glowy enough on its own. But let me sort that all out. I think I have an idea for something I want to put on my lips, and I will be back in just a second. Okay, so I went ahead and finished everything without you guys. Sorry. I used the Buxom. This is the full-on lip cream in the shade Moscow Mule, which I thought was kind of like a similar-ish tone to the eye look that we have going on today. And then as far as highlighter goes, I went in with the shade Double Trouble. This is from the BH Cosmetics Duo Light Highlight 9-color palette. And it, again, is kind of like that golden tone, and I thought that it went well with everything else I had on my face today. So that's what I did. That's how I finished things up. Obviously some mascara on the top and lower lashes. And that's the final look today. I fucking love it. I love these gold tones. I love these kind of honey colored eyeshadows, which again, I think this eye look is very similar to what you would get with like the Urban Decay Naked Honey palette. But I think the pigmentation and the blendability was probably a little bit better with what I used today, and at the same time supporting some black-owned makeup brands. So there's that. And again, if you guys want to see how I do my gel polish manicures, incorporating some glitter and that kind of stuff, again, I don't really do like crazy nail art or anything like that, but just another video idea. But if you guys want to see something like that, let me know in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you guys on the next one.